Hello, welcome in. This is your first time here at the bookstore. We do things a little bit differently here. Yeah? Alright. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming in tonight. So, we are more of like a bookstore / cafe type thing. So usually our guests will sit down, order a meal, chill, and they'll give us their book interests of things that they're looking for. And then we'll come back and show you a couple different books, and then you can decide if you want to purchase any of them or not. Sounds good? Alright, awesome. Well, you can just have a seat right there, and we could start. So, what kind of books are you looking for today? Okay. Alright, so a good mix. Some shorter books, some longer books. But you are looking at fiction, correct? Okay, cool. Okay, so it seems like you're down for a bit of science fiction or like alternate future type things or alternate history type things. And then also some like more drama stories, some more personal stories. Okay. Okay, I think we got a few that we can show you. So you can just sit back and relax, and I'll come back with those books, alright? Okay, so here's our first one. This is Sky Without Stars by Jessica Brody and Joanne Rendell, alright? So this is like a bit of a more science fiction type thing, another planet kind of story, alright? So as you can see here, it talks about 3 different people kind of intertwine into one overarching story about the whole system and everything that the world is running under, I guess you can say. A bit of a longer one, this book. And if you're looking for something that's kind of always changing, not really like bogged down to one person the whole time, one straight line, this book jumps in between the perspectives of the 3 characters. And over time you get to see how they kind of interact and intertwine their stories to create one large story, you know? So it's a bit of an interesting read. So a little summary on the back here. It's just talking about the planet, their class system, the elite class, of course, is going to be at the top, and then the 3 people are kind of in different sort of social levels, I guess you can say. So one of the characters is a thief, one of the characters is a officer, son of a trader, it says, and then the other one is a underground refugee who guards and protects the last surviving library on the planet. So 3 totally different characters who are going to tell totally different stories, and they're all going to kind of collide into one by the end of the book. So that's a bit of an interesting one. And like I said, science fiction. Yeah. What do you think about that one? And this is part of a series, book 1. So maybe if you like it, then you could go on to another one and continue the story. So, sounds pretty good. Alright. I'll show you a few more and then you can decide at the end. But you think it sounds alright? Awesome. Okay, let's go to our next one. Keep a bit of the trend going. So this is going to be Artemis by the same author as The Martian that got made into a movie. So if you ever saw that movie or read the book and you enjoyed it, maybe you would like this as well. Okay, so it says here in the summary that you're following the main character, Jasmine Bashara, who is living on this planet, this lunar colony, the first and only lunar colony in Artemis, which is the place they live. And she lives in a very small place, not much to her name, right? And so she kind of wants to get out of that situation, but signs up for a bit more than she bargained for, I guess you could say. So it follows the story of her going through this whole big elaborate scheme to kind of get out of her hole. She signed up for a bit of a quick job, and it turns out to be a lot more, and she is an important role in it, and so you kind of get to see her kind of develop as a character and go through this whole newfound situation, I suppose. So that's a bit more of a personal focused story, but still in a science fiction setting. So what do you think about that one? A bit of a shorter one than the other one. Yeah, a bit in the middle ground, maybe like 200 pages or so. Yeah, like 280-ish. So what do you think? Okay, yeah, sounds pretty good. Alright, so this one's kind of like in the middle. It's a maybe. Sounds good. Okay. Now let's go more into the much more personal stories, a bit more drama, right? Okay, so this is Mercury Pictures Presents. So it says here in the summary thing, the epic tale of a brilliant woman who must reinvent herself to survive, moving from Mussolini's Italy to 1940s LA, a timeless story of love, deceit, and sacrifice from the award-winning author of Constellation of Vital Phenomena. So if you ever heard about that book, which I haven't, then maybe you would like this one. It says, a novel so rich and wondrous written, with such grace and wit that there's only one word for Anthony Mara: genius. And that, of course, is the writer of this book. So if you're looking for a bit more of a modern tale-ish, a bit modern, a bit more than the other ones, I suppose. What do you think about that one? It's pretty good? Okay. Awesome. We've got a couple more to show you. Let's stick in that general time frame area and go with a bit of a shorter book here. This is Caroline Leah's The Metal Heart. I've actually currently been reading this one, which is why I brought it here, because I've enjoyed it so much. As you can see, about halfway through. I'm a bit of a slow reader, even though I work at a bookstore. I know. I do like to read, but kind of hard to find the time sometimes. But this one is really good. The times that I have sat down and read it, I'll read like, a pretty decent chunk. Because I've only really sat down to read this like 3 times. So, gotten through halfway. Some people will be able to read this whole book in one sitting, I know. I'm not a binge reader. I'm not going to sit here for an entire day and read a book, most likely. But I will sit down for a couple hours and get through a decent chunk if it's really well written, and this one is. So this is kind of a story of 2 girls. Although I don't know if it's told through the perspective of both of them now that I'm thinking about it. So it is told through 2 perspectives, but one of a guy and one of a girl. But there's 2 twins who kind of live by themselves after their parents passed away. And they're on this island. They're a bit of outcasts in this small island city, I suppose. Island town, I guess you would call it. Set in World War I, I believe. Sorry, World War II. And I'll just read this little summary. In the dark days of World War II, an unlikely romance blossoms between a Scottish woman and an Italian prisoner of war in this haunting story of love, jealousy, and conscience that illuminates the beauty of the human spirit. So if that sounds kind of interesting, then maybe you would like this book. A bit more of a romance, but still drama, not too heavy on like a romance novel. It's not quite like that, but it still has that romance aspect to it, I guess. But it focuses a bit more on the drama and the conflict than it does on the actual romance in that sense. You know what I mean? So what do you think about that one? Bit of a shorter one, I suppose. You like it? Alright. I do recommend this one, so I think it's a good choice. Staying in a bit more of a historical time, this one is going to be another bit more chonky boy. This is going to be To Paradise by Hanya Yanagihara. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but hopefully I got close at least. So this is... I haven't read this one, like almost all the other ones. But this is going to be, I believe, another that kind of jumps around a little bit. But I think it's between two different time frames, not necessarily between two different perspectives. So it says, from the author of the classic A Little Life, a bold, brilliant novel spanning 3 centuries and 3 different versions of the American experiment about lovers, family, loss, and the elusive promise of utopia. So 3 different stories, I suppose, in 3 different centuries, in 3 different, I believe, like, not realities, but like it says, 3 different versions of the American experiment, so I don't think they're all in the same universe. So it says, in an alternate version of 1893 America, New York is part of the free states, where people may live with and love whomever they please, or so it seems. The fragile young scion of a distinguished family resists betrothal to a worthy suitor, drawn to a charming music teacher of no means. In 1993, Manhattan besieged by AIDS epidemic, a young Hawaiian man lives with his much older, wealthier partner, hiding his troubled childhood and the fate of his father. And in 2093, in a world riven by plagues and governed by totalitarian rule, a powerful scientist's damaged granddaughter tries to navigate life without him and solve the mystery of her husband's disappearances. We read a little bit more on. These 3 sections are joined in an enthralling and ingenious symphony as recurring notes and themes deepen and enrich one another. A townhouse in Washington Square Park and Greenwich Village, illness and treatments that come at a terrible cost, wealth and squalor, the weak and the strong, race, the definition of family and of nationhood, the dangerous righteousness of the powerful and of the revolutionaries longing to find a place in earthly paradise, and the gradual realization that it can't exist. I mean, come on. Even just that bit of a summary was pretty damn well written. So if that's going to be, that good, that high effort, then I think that says something about the rest of the book. So that one, I think this is on my reading list, but as you can see, it's going to take me a while to get there, but that one does sound pretty interesting. So what do you think about that one? You like it? Alright, sounds good. Okay, so those are all of our books that we have for you today. So do you think that you like any of those that you want to take home with you? This one? Okay, sounds good. Any other ones? Good pick. Okay, so you'll be taking The Metal Heart as well. Awesome. Will that be it? Just the 2? Think you're going to do one more? Okay. So our choices here are Mercury Pictures presents a bit more of a personal tale in 1940s era, going from Mussolini's Italy. Was that what, fascist Italy? I don't know. Totalitarian rule in Italy, to Hollywood trying to make her name in a bit of a corrupt system, trying to find herself and reinvent herself as a person and as a business person, I presume. Then we have Sky Without Stars, multiple perspectives, multiple different levels of the class system in a sci-fi setting, all trying to kind of fight the system that they were placed into from different points, and then all colliding into one. And then Artemis, story of a, I guess you can say, lower class person who has an opportunity to kind of rise in that social status, I guess, and kind of fight back against the system that has put her there, and tries to grow herself as a person and overcome these challenges that are suddenly thrown at her. And yeah, also in a bit more of a sci-fi setting. So what do you think you're going to go with out of the three? Mercury Pictures presents. Alright. Sounds good. So your final three that you've chosen for today are Caroline Leah's The Metal Heart, Anthony Mara's Mercury Pictures Presents, and Hanya Yanagihara's To Paradise. I think that's a great selection of books that'll take you hopefully at least a couple months, unless you're just a very avid reader, but props to you if you are. So we'll get those all rung up for you. You could finish your coffee and have you on your way. So thank you so much for coming in. I hope you had a relaxing stay, and I hope you enjoy those books. Thank you. All right. You have a good night.